Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about chapter 23 of the Tao Te Ching, which is titled very trustingly, Trust in the Dao. Now, some of the chapters that we've talked about are pretty metaphysical. They're pretty deep, and, they often have that, yogi wisdom of, in order to move left, you must learn to go right. In order to go up, you must learn to go down. Um, and that can be quite frustrating, especially if you're quite a practical, logically minded kind of person. I'm somebody who very much likes step one, step two, step three achievement. I like that linear pathology. I like the idea of slow but persistent progression and achievement through, that kind of thing. And if you are like that, if you are like me, you are going to enjoy this chapter a lot more than some of the other ones. Because trusting in the Tao, this chapter is quite obvious. I feel like a lot of the time in Taoism, you are supposed to just flow. You are supposed to naturally just move through the logical steps, or you're supposed to just innately have this, inbuilt wisdom that you're supposed to follow, and you're just supposed to trust it, and it's supposed to all work out. And that can be really intimidating if you are humble and you understand your limitations and you realize that you're not that wise, you're not that intuitive. Things sometimes need to be explained to you very basically. And so you might really like this. I'm somebody who definitely needs things explained to me very, very basically. And so I'm going to read it and then we're going to talk about it. Trust in the Tao. Nature's way is sparing with words. A whirlwind does not even last a whole morning, nor a thunderstorm all day. Where do whirlwinds and thunderstorms come from? They are products of heaven and earth. And if these natural phenomena are only short-lived, why should men be different? Thus, those who follow the Tao in their actions are in accord with the Tao. Those who apply virtue are in accord with virtue. Those who have lost touch with virtue and the Tao are only in accord with loss. So, I don't know about you, but that's pretty on the nose. Essentially, if you're not going to act with virtue, you're going to be virtueless. If you're not going to act with wisdom, you're not going to do anything very wise. It's talking about the natural phenomenon that we see in the world: thunderstorms, whirlwinds, hurricanes, earthquakes. None of these things last very long. Sometimes you're dealing with the implications of them for a while. You've got to rebuild, you've got to set up. There might have been a tragedy during a thunderstorm or an earthquake, and there is a period of recovery and recuperation. But the actual event themselves last maybe a few hours at best. These things pass. And if these things can pass, so too do our lives, so too do the trials and tribulations that we deal with in life. Nothing is permanent. We aren't permanent. One day I will be in a box in the ground, or I will be a bucket of ashes on someone's shelf. And that is the natural progression of things. Every ancestor that I have has done the same exact process as me. They're going through life. They observe natural phenomena. They try and survive. They eat, they drink. Hopefully they laugh, they enjoy, they struggle. And it's only natural that that progression eventually ends. And whether you believe in some kind of cyclical reincarnation or heaven and hell, or maybe you don't believe in anything, it's a natural thing that happens over and over and over again. And we just kind of got to ride the ride, experience the experience. So it's really logically based, right? Like the idea of, these natural phenomenon, they don't last a while. So you might as well just trust in the process. Trust that it's going to work out the way it's going to work out. Go with the flow, which is a very common thing attributed to Taoism, and the idea of just got to ride the ride. You cannot, You can't break the cycle. You're not going to be the first person to live forever. I know that there's a lot of science out right now trying to figure that out, but it's not possible. You can talk about downloading your consciousness or building a new body or whatever, but I think all of these people are going to realize that A, you don't want to live forever in this physical world, and B, something about our consciousness will not be able to exist in perpetuity. You know, we are supposed to change form. We weren't here, then we were, then we're gone. That has always existed, and I think trying to tamper with that or trying to mess with that is foolhardy. And who knows, maybe I'm totally wrong. That's my opinion, that's my belief. I'm a Taoist. What can I say? I like going with the flow. I don't want to try and break the flow. I don't want to try and reverse the river. All of these things lead to disaster. So I'm just going to trust in the process, trust in the Tao. And another aspect that I want to touch on, the second part of this, when it says those who apply virtue are in accord with virtue, I think this is going to be me on my little soapbox. So if you're done with that, I apologize. I will see you next week. Good luck. But I think our society is obsessed with like quick fixes and sort of transfiguration. And what I mean by that is instead of actually like say you want to be healthy, you want to go to the gym, you want to have a nice body, whatever your goal is. I think a lot of us want a solution that has nothing to do with the end result. So we'll look for a chemical or a drug or something we can have that will allow us to have that amazing body without moving it, without eating properly, without fueling it properly. We want that cheat code. We want that ability to have this thing without having any of the work or the effort put into building that thing. And what this chapter is saying is that if you want to be virtuous, act virtuous. You want to be fit, act fit. You want to be wise, go and learn things, because that's what a wise person does. And our society is constantly looking for these little workarounds, these little sneaky, oh, look at, I found a loophole. Life doesn't have loopholes. These loopholes, these ideas of like, oh, I'm going to live forever. Oh, I'm going to trick the system. Oh, I'm going to cheat this. They never actually work. You know, when you actually sit down and you look at the examples of these people saying, look, I found a loophole. When you look at the specificity and the specific details behind how these people got the way they did, almost always they're lying. Almost always they actually ended up going to the gym. They actually did this. They did that, you know. And many, if not all of these loopholes also have unforeseen side effects that will affect you for the rest of your life. So if you want to get big in the gym and you decide to take something that helps you do that, you're going to be dealing with the unforeseen consequences of that loophole for the rest of your life, you know? And I really get tired by these ideas of, oh, if you want this, actually, you don't have to work hard. Actually, you don't have to act with virtue. You can just sneak around this little tricksy way to do it. No, it's much easier than people make it. I think it really bothers me that, you know, I don't want to act with virtue, but I want to be virtuous. Just act with virtue. Is it really that hard? Is it really that difficult? I don't know. There's no loopholes to life. Don't try and find them. Just take the basic route, the path. Just because it's the worn out path to reach the top of the mountain doesn't mean it's a bad way to get up to the top of the mountain. It's worked like that for centuries. Why not just follow it? Why attempt to break the rules and find the jetpack that gets you up there in 2 seconds? The path there's nothing wrong with the path. So trust in the Tao, trust in the system. It doesn't mean you have to be like a conspiratorial, like everyone's out to get me. That's generally not the case. So that's my little soapbox moment. Sorry for that. If you're still here, I apologize. But if you want to be virtuous, act with virtue. If you want to be wise, act with wisdom and seek for knowledge. That's what I'm advocating. So Thank you for listening. I hope you're having a beautiful day, month, year, century, whatever you're having. I hope it's amazing. Thank you for trusting in the Tao. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.